Because that's what today's episode's about. Burn makeup.
Really?
Yeah, that's the intro. Deal with it. Burns. They're devastating, but awesome when done in movies. Ralis, how would you do burns?
Biology.
How would you do them in movies?
Science.
You're gonna use makeup, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna use makeup. And science.
You.
Okay, this is how we're gonna do this one. We're gonna be using some regular cream colored makeups. We're gonna be using some liquid latex because we're gonna do 1st degree burns, 2nd degree burns, and then we're gonna be using gelatin for 3rd degree burns and alcohol activated makeups. Some new shit for you guys out there. Burn, motherfucker, burn! This is Burn's material list. What you're gonna need to make this stuff work. You can get it all at Friends Beauty Supply, so check it. Tell them that Ralis sent you. First, what we're gonna need is good old trusty Krylon Rubber Mask Pro palette. This is a 24 color palette. It's got all your flesh tones and effects colors. You don't have to have all those colors, but Rubber Mask Grease Paint is a great thing to have and use. If you don't have those, you can use this cream makeup color. A little cream makeup works, goes a long way. I'll be using some of these. Once again, it comes in a 24 palette from Krylon that I got. I just scooped it out and put it in this smaller one. You can use any brand you got. We're gonna go with some alcohol activated makeups. These are activated with 99% alcohol. They stay on even when underwater or through sweat. Good stuff. We got liquid latex. We got tongue depressors for you people with those happy tongues. We got gel effects or gelatin-based makeup products. We have little wax paper cups, wax paper palette, makeup wedges and sponges. We got, hey, check this out, 3rd degree for your 3rd degree burns, silicone. Because I need a shot to get me going in the day. We got 99% alcohol. It's good stuff. Also flammable. Woohoo! Who knew? Hey, I wonder if we can make this work. That's gonna catch on fire later. Okay. And then we got blood paste for the taste. All right. We have a little charcoal powder, a little black powder there for burns. A little bit of blood. We got some paint brushes here. These are synthetic brushes. A couple different sizes on the smaller side. A little metal palette, a disposable yet reusable powder puff. We got some neutral set powder. I'm done with that. All right. And then of course we need our paper towels. Whoa! I'm gonna need that. This is badass burns. We're gonna start off with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degree burns, motherfuckers. That's right, bitches. This is badass burns. Here we go. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about what burns are. And the 1st degree burn is just redness. It can be caused by all kinds of things, like sunburn. I'm gonna actually be using some cream colors. These cream colors, I'm just gonna use red cream makeup here. I'm gonna work on my palette a little bit. And sunburn is a typical form of 1st degree burn. It can also be caused by, say, steam or radiation, not necessarily like nuclear radiation, but any type of radiated heat. Like a sunburn is a form of radiated heat. And it's just some redness and irritation. And you want to smooth it out because it kind of blends through the skin. You can have a contact 1st degree burn, like if you grab or touch something really quickly and it can leave a mark, that type of thing. Lots of times women can get 1st degree burns from a curling iron. You can have a 1st degree burn, I'm going to do this one, from an abrasion. Has the same effect like a rope burn. So we'll do a rope burn where it's from an abrasion. It's still a 1st degree burn, it's just minor skin irritation and redness. Oftentimes, 1st degree burns can also be comical, like a sunburn, where you can have somebody where they had sunglasses on or something like that, or like in maybe it's the Home Alone movies, where somebody gets an iron to the face. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to use this, and we're going to do a little bit of an iron. I'm going to do the shape of an iron first, and just get the redness in there. And also, I'm going to take a little alcohol here, and I'm going to remove the holes where the steam holes would be in the iron, so that area would not get burned. So it really sells it as that comical iron thing. And then even where the steam shoots out, we'll put a little stuff on there, and there you can have it. He's got a sunburn, a rope burn, and the burn from an iron. All first-degree burns, just typical redness to the skin. All right, for the second set of burns, I'm going to be using a little bit of gelatin. Second-degree burns means there's blistering. You can have just regular blistering, and they can even be burst blisters. What I'm going to do here is a pretty intense second-degree burn. So we're going to have both burst blisters and fresh blisters. For the fresh blisters, I'm going to be using some gelatin, which is a gooey substance. Woohoo! Like this, and I'll be microwaving it. One thing to make sure of as you microwave it is to make sure it's not too hot. I always test it on myself first. Ah! I always test it on myself to make sure I'm not going to burn the actor or victim, as Giles is also our victim again. Okay, Giles, this might get a little hot, but it shouldn't be unbearable. So I'm going to hold his arm up here, just so it doesn't drizzle down. I want to make kind of a semi-round area with blisters. I'm going to make them different shapes and sizes, and I'm concentrating them in the same area because wherever my fire burn is going to be, those blisters that I'm doing here, the fresh ones, won't have burst yet. Okay, and there we go for our fresh blisters. Let them cool a little bit so they set and don't move. Now the gelatin, once again, you can buy that pre-made or you can make it yourself. In another episode, I'll be going over how to make that yourself. The next thing we're going to be using is our friendly neighborhood latex. A little bit of latex on a palette. Take a sponge, rip it in half, and we're going to stipple on about 4 layers. So this is going to take some time, guys. So we just stipple it on, and blow dry. So I've done the whole upper arm 4 times and let it dry. Now, usually you powder latex because it'll stick to itself. We're going to use that to our advantage at this point because this is going to suck a little bit, Giles. I'm going to scrape this and pull it. It's going to create blisters. Now the latex I'm using on Giles is actually not the right latex to be using. It's just what I had. You can get a nice clear latex, which will give you really cool looking blisters. But because I'm using this for the open blisters, it's going to work fine. It's actually a casting latex for masks. It has a filler in it, so it's a little bit whitish. A clear one will work a little bit better on this. Now that I have all these holes here, I made them different sizes and put them where I wanted to in a pattern to work with that. I'm going to color the latex to match the skin a little bit. Once again, I'm going to use our good friend Rubber Mask Grease Paint. You guys remember that stuff. I scrape it out, put it onto a palette, and I'm going to thin it down with a little bit of castor oil. The castor oil, actually, you can get at Friends Beauty Supply, or you can pick it up at a like a pharmacy, a Rite Aid, any place like that. And I use it to thin down my Rubber Mask Grease Paint. It's actually an ingredient in there. So it's more like a wash. And once again, a red stipple sponge, because they don't fall apart, and I just get the color on here. I'm staying away from the blisters, pretty much just putting the color in between them. Now that I got that, I want to add a little bit of red tone. So I'm going to take some red Rubber Mask Grease Paint, castor oil, put that on, mix that up, get that onto a brush, and I'm going to do some redness. Now I'm going to keep it kind of blotchy because skin is organic and fire is organic. And these things don't make things nice and pretty and smooth. They are blotchy and messy. In fact, it's good to get to know blotchy. Blotchy is our friend. Once again, I'm staying away, a couple millimeters away from the blisters, so we have that light ring around that. We're actually going to use that as a natural highlight. And I'm going to stay away completely from the fresh blisters so that they look fresh and nasty. Okay, now that I have that done, it's time to color inside the blisters. A nice deep red, and I'm going to go in. Now I'm concentrating the color on the bottom edge to really get it in there and sink those down. Really good. Now it looks cool so far, but I want to add a little more depth. So you remember, you can always add shadow by adding a touch of black. I'm just going to use a tiny bit of black and go in here and just on the bottom half of the ring, so you can see what I'm doing here, and fading it up. The Rubber Mask Grease Paint blends like oil paint in a fine art painting. Got that? Now I'm going to powder using a powder puff and some neutral set powder. I rub that in, really dust it down, and I load it up on there. I'm really putting a ton of powder on there and pressing it in. Not smearing or rubbing, but pressing. And then I'm going to dust it off with that. In fact, I'm even going to use a powder brush here, and I'm going to dust off the excess powder. Now that I have the powder on there, I'm going to put a little bit of highlight for some kind of pus colors and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and in here, it's a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. I'm just using cream color. It's not even rubber mask grease paint now. One thing is I like to use rubber mask grease paint on that latex because it doesn't affect or change color with the latex. It's actually designed for working on latex. There we go. And then, last but not least, I'm going to go get some sexual lube. Yes, sexual lube. It's what looks great on everybody's flesh. Now, this actually puts a nice clear gloss and a sheen on. Even when it dries, it has a little bit of a sheen. So we're going to take a little KY jelly, and we're going to put it on there. You can use a sponge, or use a sponge and just kind of stipple that on there. That gives us a shine. You can add a little pus to it. You can buy pre-made pus, which is what I'm going to use just because I have it here. Or some people just use like some skin lotion and a drop of yellow food coloring. And you can just put that on there with a Q-tip. And you have pussy open sores and a second-degree burn. So for the second-degree burn, you had the redness that was part of the first degree, as well as the blisters, and I put in some burst blisters, so this is a really, really, really bad second degree. You could just have fresh blisters and a little bit of redness, that's still a second degree burn. These just happen to be burst open and the fresh, so I could show you both at the same time. So that's second degree burn. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clip Giles' hair back. Some hair clip, you look pretty, Giles.
That's what they tell me.
Yes. And then a little bit of alcohol on his skin to remove excess oils. Close your eye, please, and don't open it until I tell you because the vapors will still be there. This is some of the cheapest material you can use for doing makeup effects or any type of appliance. So we're going to go ahead and microwave that. You test it on your skin first. Make sure before you go to an actor. I've actually seen people really burned by using gelatin that's way too hot. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start building up kind of a rim or an edge on his skin where it would be burned. Now, even though I'm doing a third degree burn, I'm going to do a healed burned scar first. One of the cool things about gelatin is it is organic. It's safe for use on the skin. I don't know anybody that's ever had a reaction to it. And you can get it into the hair, even in the beard and on the neck, into the ear. And Giles, say so, I'm going to go right over your eye with this right here. And right through the eyelashes, the eyebrow, everything. It's not the most comfortable thing. Keep your eye closed for a little while until it hardens up, okay? It's going to cool down and harden up. So we can go here, and I'm going to play with it. As the gelatin cools, you can pull on it and create shapes and depth and form. And I'm actually thinking about anatomy here. I'm like, okay, if the skin fused around the eye, what did it do? Also, behind the ear, if that ear fused to the back of the skull and actually solidified, what's that going to look like? And where was the flame the worst? Obviously on the cheekbone and the brow area up here. So it's going to really be most intense on the forehead here, along the cheekbone, and the brow bone here, and the jaw where it hit. Also, I'm going to get the nose and right around the mouth. Now I'm going to put some sinewy titaniums in here and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Now I've got to reheat every once in a while, and I can even blend the edges a little bit with this new hot stuff. Add a little more detail and depth. All right. Now we've used alcohol colors in the past, and I'm going to use them again because they're translucent. They're translucent, and it's really good for doing colors. It's good to do a light wash. This, I'm just going to use kind of this reddish kind of magenta tone on here from the effects palette. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to deepen in some of the recessed areas. Just a little bit of everywhere on here. Now, I'm going to let the flesh be the flesh and the highlight area. Just on there. Cool. Go around the eye, the neck, the ear, get into all these areas. I'm even going to go ahead and I'm going to bring that onto the other side of the face a little bit for some coloration there. Then I'm going to grab my other palette, which has flesh tones in it. And I'm going to take some flesh and some green. It's more of a yellowish flesh tone. And The green will actually gray out the flesh tone a little bit, and I'm just going to tap this in to make it a little more natural and look a little older. Now the last thing to really make this pop is a little blue, believe it or not. I'm using a light colored blue here. You can see this blue. Blue. See blue? Blue? Blue. It's blue. Yeah, but just a tiny bit. And that kind of, on top of that red, it's going to go a little purple. It's not a dark blue, so it's kind of a lightish purple. Kind of like old scars. You'll see a lot of our old scars turn kind of purplish and reddish in tone. Now, it still has a lot of shine. I never powdered this because I want the shine. What the shine gives us the effect of is the fused skin. There's no skin texture. It's gone. But I want to matte it down a little bit. I'm going to use a little anti-shine. It's kind of a gel, and it's a matting agent in there. You could use a little bit of powder. This is easier for me to control. And I'm going to just put this right on here. And I'm not going to do the whole thing, just kind of the area where they blend together. The right side of his face and the burned area here on the face of the healed burn scar. And we just stipple that on, and it's just going to matte it just a little bit. And there you have a healed 3rd degree burn, all skin fused together. I'm going to show you guys how to make this a fresh and nasty one in just a couple seconds. So in order to do this, I'm going to use some red gelatin. Same type of thing, just red food coloring in the gelatin. Melt it down, throw it in the microwave. But first, I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to rip it open, pull out a chunk where the fresh was ripped away, tuck the edges back, just like that. Now, I'm going to melt that red gelatin. Once again, I always test it on my own skin. Okay, it's not too hot. I got it there. Go in with the red gelatin. Once again, I had a little bit of flesh gelatin that I built up on his cheek and his brow area already. I did that just to simulate some bone. You'll see later. But now with the red gelatin, I'm creating sinews and tendons into your eye a little bit, Giles. Okay, down over here, pulling away flaps and kind of filling in. I want some, sinews and tendons, basically. It's kind of anatomy. And I'm creating some shapes as it cools. You don't need a whole bunch. One thing that works really well that I want to tell you about is to really smear the gelatin into the skin firmly because it makes it stick better. One thing to prevent it from falling off, you could always put a little bit of glue like a Procade, which is water-based adhesive, down first. Or any kind of glue for that matter. You could put spirit gum and tap it and put some cotton into it so you got a mechanical lock. Alright, and we go ahead and do that. Now once that's good, we've got it set up, I'm going to actually add some black tones. I'm going to throw in some blacks with alcohol activated colors. And I'm just going to do that in the recessed areas. Now, this isn't necessarily charring, but I'm also going to do a wash kind of over on the red to mute the red a little bit because I don't want a glaring blood color on here. Just want a little bit. Just some black there. All of that. Okay, cool. So once we got that muted down, now the main thing that sets a fresh 3rd degree burn away from a healed burn or a 2nd degree burn is the charred flesh. Now this is where I actually like to use a powder. I like to use a charcoal powder. In fact, you could use charcoal briquettes ground up, but this is a cosmetic powder that is already set, and it's specifically for it. It's a cosmetic pigment. It's a black powder. So I'm going to go ahead and just use that right on Giles. Okay, now I'm just going to hit the high points and kind of rub it in. Now the cool thing about the charcoal powder is it's matte. And in contrast to the glossy gelatin, it really makes it pop. And that's one of the things I love. You can go ahead and smear it. Now, another thing you can do, Giles, can you tighten up your eyes real quick? We're going to kind of do that comic explosion kind of poof thing. Just with the black powder right on the face. And then I go ahead and just rub it all in there. Get it. Okay, open your eyes. We got the comedic look. We have the charred side here with all the charred powder. And just a little more on the chin to blend that in.
You got something on your face there.
You might want to get that checked out.
Yeah. Okay, so you said this stuff was cheap.
It is cheap.
Now, how cheap?
Well, the thing is, if you make it yourself, you can actually get Knox unflavored gelatin from the grocery store, some glycerin, and kind of make it yourself. So it could really be under $5 on a ghetto budget.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go buy this stuff, nothing I used here was over $30.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So you could do the same makeup with a silicone, and it would be a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
and use it and get the same results too.
Okay.
It'd be a little tougher though.
Now, like latex, I mean, you put it on his eyebrow and stuff like that, but you didn't put anything on top of his eyebrow.
No,
It
no.
comes off easy?
Yeah, you can just peel this right off like I did right before I was going to do the red stuff. It peeled off real easy. Now, that's a bad thing as well as a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it can come off easy and it doesn't like sweat, so it could actually come off. You can do things to prevent that by actually putting some glue down, like an acrylic-based adhesive like a Procade or a silicone-based adhesive. But a good thing is you could take it off with alcohol and lift it off, clean it up, and use it again if you had to, and add more gelatin to it to help glue it back down.
All right, well, that's disgusting.
Burns. Whole book on burns.
So that's it for this episode of the Mad Monster Lab and an awesome effect on burns.
Now make sure that every other Wednesday you're going to want to subscribe, okay?
Well, you want to subscribe now because every other Wednesday,
We're going to have a new episode right here.
a new episode. If you guys have any questions about this build, contact Ralis on his Twitter at MadMonsterLab
Also, check out these videos down here.
because they're previous episodes and they're awesome.
Also, if you're creative, you can actually link those techniques to the techniques that we're doing today in order to combine the effects for an even greater effect.
Exactly. And leave a comment below because we're still taking some requests for future episodes. So do that right below this video.